Yo, I'm back. We back. We bike. We bike. We bike. I am honored to have a legit manga artist. This is probably the closest I'll ever get to anything manga on
Oh,
this
we
level.
just at the beginning then. We just getting started.
My man Seji Botto. Sir, I
Yo,
cannot sing your praises enough. Please take this opportunity to toot your own horn. You are the real deal.
hey man, hey. I'm speechless.
So
But I'm also honored to be on your platform,
hey,
man.
no,
Thank you
no,
for
no,
having me.
anytime. Yeah, like I said, like we were saying, we're joking in the back in the green room. I said, yo, your lady was like, you gonna talk to my man. You
Right,
gonna?
right.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, man. She be looking out. She's a big fan of you, man.
Yeah,
So
I
shout out to
appreciate
you.
that. I appreciate that. So this let me flat out ask you, how did you get into comics, specifically the manga side of things? Was it family introduction, something you just picked up watching TV, or how did we get on this path?
Um, so I'm 32, so I was born in '91. I was a '90s baby.
We're not gonna hold
So
it against you.
typically,
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
hey, thank you. um, so like typically, like most of the children of my era, it was Toonami,
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z, just to
Okay.
keep it simple. Um, yeah, that was my entryway into everything. I wasn't really a big Marvel or DC fan, but I mean, I enjoyed my Superman and my Batman, but I didn't really delve too deep into that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But it was essentially just like Dragon Ball Z and Toonami. That's what got me into the world of comics and manga.
So, growing up, did you now? Like I ask all the brothers, how was the reception of you being in that and then into the comics? Was it a bad thing, a positive experience? Did you get bullied? Did you get harassed, made fun of? How was that for you growing up? And this is knowing this is what you were into.
Um, Growing up, honestly, I didn't get, you know what I'm saying? I was in at that time the south suburbs of Chicago. So it really wasn't like a bullying because of anime and manga or
Okay.
anything like that. It was just more so just typical things, you know what I'm saying? Like type of clothes folks wore or something like that. But typically everybody liked Dragon Ball Z and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it was like that was where everyone really met in the middle. And that was
Okay.
really the only type of anime people were really worth talking about aside from like Gundam and all that stuff. So to answer your question, not really, but you had a few people, but it wasn't like enough to, you know what I'm saying, for it to be that. So
Yeah.
I'll just say no.
So how did you specifically get into manga per se? When did that become it for you?
Once I realized that that's where the animes came from,
Okay.
that like the source material, and I was like, okay, so this is where the true story of this is. This is like how like a book is for a movie before they turn the book into a movie. It's like
Right.
if you want to know like the real, like everything that the author had wrote, you
Hmm.
know, from the mind of the creator, you're gonna read the book, you're gonna read the source material. So when I actually like read and it's crazy because before I bought a Dragon Ball Z manga, I bought an Inuyasha manga.
Okay.
And I was reading that and I was like, damn, this is really dope. I was like, the art style is slightly different, but it you can tell that this is where the source material is from. It feels more like raw and organic, and I want to be a part of that creation process of my IP if I were to create one. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that started that.
Well, in your opinion, how watered down is by the time we get it from the manga? Like, how are you even interested in seeing a live adaptation? Once say if they do a One Piece, you read the One Piece mangas, and you're like, you know what, they're gonna live adaptation. I don't care because it's gonna deviate so far from the source material that I'm not interested. Are you that type of manga reader, or you're like, let me see how it turns out, let me see what they keep in and what they leave out as far as the source material?
So yeah, me, I can honestly say that I am a purist at that and from that aspect because it's like well in today's climate because I know that they do change a lot so that it can appease to multiple crowds, because a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff that was written in the 90s, a lot of the stuff wouldn't really pass today
Hmm.
for the humor that, so let's say like Dragon Ball. That's like my all-time favorite. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if we the Master Roshi jokes can't really go too crazy with that nowadays. So it's like, that's why we don't
Should get
really
you
see no.
canceled. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see no Dragon Ball live action. We just like, we're gonna keep that over there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? R.I.P. Toriyama, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like certain things like that. I'm just like, maybe we should just leave it the way it is. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? But there are certain ones, like I know the Yu Yu Hakusho one. I heard that one was pretty decent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it depends. And I heard the One Piece one was pretty decent too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of One Piece. I'm just not caught up all the way. But from what I've heard, it had some pretty decent reviews, and the creator was behind most of the production of it. So that's very assuring.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're on the path of manga. You say to yourself, "This is what I want to be a part of." When did the creative part come in? When did you say, I want to add to this? I want to create IP to add to this industry. So when did that happen for you? And what was the motivation behind that?
Well, I've always wanted to create one. It was just I had to figure out how to like draw the way that I wanted to.
Okay.
So ever since I picked up my first manga, so like that Inuyasha one I spoke of, like the actual, that was my actual first volume of manga that I bought. So I was like, oh man, this is I wish I could do this on my own. You know what I'm saying? So it
Mm-hmm.
was from then, but then from that point, I had to actually learn to like draw. You know what I'm saying? So that
And
was really the hard part.
how was
Um,
that path for you? Did you face any adverse reactions or like, this is really, maybe you should look into something else? Did people try to steer you off the manga path as far as being a creator?
no, not really. Not really. I guess I'm fortunate enough to have enough people, because I was making music before, like we were talking about in the green room. So I've had a so sort of like a cult following in that, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
had pretty good support system whenever I like transitioned from rap and then started drawing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because they'll be like, "Oh man, this is dope, man! Like this is crazy. You're actually drawing like a cool anime manga style." You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's cool to see you go from rap to this. You know, saying dedicate your time to this. So it was very very good support, very much needed.
So are you of the mindset that basically manga is the superior version of comics? Is that how you feel about it, or you just it's story driven, character driven, the way they flesh out um the stories? How do you see it, or how does it, when it's manga versus the Western? Are you one of those like, nah, let me tell you why it's this, because it's like this, because this, or do you like, okay, you can enjoy both, but the reason for me why this stands out is because of A, B, and C?
I'm a little of both. I'm gonna be
Okay.
honest with you. I'm a little of both. Because if we want to get technical, like when I started learning to make manga, I was researching the actual technicalities of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The fundamentals of like how like the page flow. That's what it really is page flow, the number of panels. And what I'm talking about right now is like the what I feel are the core differences between the two. You know what I'm saying? So for like manga, it's like the story flow and just how the panels guide our eyes to the next page and everything. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Certain onomatopoeias and sound effects and how you incorporate that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what my stance is when I say that there are core differences that separate the two. Now, I would be biased to say that, because I feel personally that manga is better than comics, but on a just to be fair and neutral, you know what I'm saying? It all depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to read. Because I know people that don't like reading right to left, you know what I'm saying? Because it confuses them, you know what I'm saying? But it's just all what you want to read, you know? I try to appeal to readers who love that classic Shonen Jump Dragon Ball feel, you know?
Yeah.
So I try to tap into that more so than just be like, manga, 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 you know what I'm saying? I ain't I ain't on it like that, you know.
Okay. Where are the flaws in manga? Are there any weak spots? Any chinks in the armor? Because when I talk to Purist, they're like manga from A to Z. There's no flaws. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. Like the way it's set up is perfect, and the U.S. should learn and imitate to a certain extent the manga way of doing things.
So let me ask you this question with the question in. What aspect of that do you want me to answer as in like what is the flaw in creating it or the flaw in how it's because for right now I see it just becoming more popular, but there's subcategories of the conversation, man, because I personally think that the manga that's out today is not good at all.
Okay, tell me why.
It's because it's regurgitated ideas like Japan, like we all know what we deemed like the greatest, like how they have the big three like One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, all of that, right?
Yeah.
The shonen battle manga trope. We're all used to that. That's what inspires me. That's what's inspired me to work on my story, and that's what's inspired thousands of other independent manga creators. Um, they're running out of ideas, man. So like they are doing a lot of I think they're in their demon phase right now, where it's just like a lot of demon, traumatic, sad, dark shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not really inspiring, but it's more so like on the demoralizing tip. It's like reality. Like you look outside and we know that like over here, like in the West, shit's fucked up. So it's like when we read comics and we were reading like Dragon Ball and Naruto and stuff, it was an escape. Cause it was like, wow, this is a whole nother world. Like it can take me somewhere from here.
Okay.
Escapism almost. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? But
Yeah.
now it's more like, no, get this trauma. You know what I'm saying? And I know that everyone loves Attack on Titan and all of that. I was talking to my lady about that too, because she's a big AOT fan.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it's just a lot of trauma. Like, come on. Like but it's trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. I used to watch Gundam Wing. That's a traumatic ass show.
Especially for 5 young teens.
Man, and when I was watching it, I was like 10. So it was like, man, like you just have to balance. And that's what I was telling my peers and everything. I was like, you have to balance the trauma with the wholesomeness
Okay.
and all of that so you can have a full package, you know?
Where would you like it? Or what tropes would you like to see worked in or discovered or talk more about? Because I could be wrong, but it sounds like, and I'm saying you don't want a happy ending, but you want resolution to the trauma. Like, how do they get past it? Let's not live and wallow in it. Do we move on from this, learn from it?
Yeah. Yeah. But it could also be a lighthearted story that ends bad. I'd like that too.
Okay.
I just want the balance, because I'll say this is just a theory of mine. I feel like my generation now, they create what they, it's literally just a creative expression. It's not like to appeal to young children or nothing. Like One Piece, Ichiro Oda, when he created One Piece, the manga, him and his editor would go to, it sounds kind of weird, but when you think of like how they do shit over there, it's just like, yeah, whatever. But him and his editor would go to comic book stores or manga stores
Mm-hmm.
the day that they dropped One Piece, and they were seeing who would buy the first copy.
Okay.
And once they saw that it was a little boy that bought it, they were like, hooray! Because they found their target market, and they're like, this is exactly who we want to pick up these books. We want little boys. It's shonen. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Little boys to pick up these books and be like, wow, I want to be Luffy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, like stuff like that, like just having a direction and knowing who you're marketing to. That's you know
Early on, we know Toriyama was a huge influence for you. What
Hmm.
other artists inspired you as well to kind of help shape your style of manga, your storytelling, your character designs or characters?
Hmm.
Who else
Um,
do you
Masashi Kishimoto, creator of Naruto,
okay.
and Ichiro Oda. So
Okay.
literally the big three of manga have influenced my style, honestly.
Okay. I want to get into this because you're the first person I can honestly ask this question because you are directly immersed in it.
Hmm.
Now, the issues that we've always talked about with manga is the race and how
Hmm.
they see us and all this. And I was talking with I think it was Abomination AJ, or I forget who. We were talking about Mr. Popo, and I'm
Okay.
like, I you can tell me that's an Indian based character, but I can pull you up images from 1930s in the South and pull you up an image of a Gollywog doll, and that
Hmm.
it's the same thing, right?
Hmm.
So for those that remember how I guess race baity manga was for them, how much of that has changed? Has it lessened? Is it becoming better? Is the manga community a little bit more open armed to urban folk? Are
Hmm.
they sensitive to how their images are portrayed when it comes to people with melanin to a certain extent?
There's definitely uh, an immense amount of ignorance. Now I ain't gonna say that it's like they're like, oh, I didn't know. I'm not saying that, but it's just like it's ignorance. Now on to the Mr. Popo thing. I've been real like the Dragon Ball fan in me is just like, man, why does it matter? But I come from a background. My mother is very. I grew up in a very pro-black household. Like my mom is with the shits to the point that it was like man to the point that it's like man I was when I was growing up I was so heavily influenced by the Japanese stuff. My mom was it was just putting me onto everything else. You know
Okay,
what I'm saying? Like she was putting me on the Emmett Till and everything when I was like 4.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like just putting me on to just growing up as a black man in America, like all of that. So it's just like while I'm over here, like, Mom, I want to go to Japan and play Pokemon, and she's just like, so, uh, yeah, I don't like, yeah, that's just a lot. It's just a lot to unpack when it gets to when we get on those type of topics. But it was, yeah. So I just got a bunch of messages and stuff. That
No, you're
and
good. You're
that's what
good.
that's what brings us to the topic because I meant to say I actually run a publishing company here in Chicago, a manga publishing company called On Soru Go. You were sharing the website
Yeah,
for it,
yeah,
but
definitely.
I
Yeah.
work with other indie creators, and we're basically trying to contribute to the space. Be the change that we want to see
Mm-hmm.
instead of um, honestly like just complaining about it. You know, so we just
Are you
change the scale.
liking the changes you see especially for your demographic moving forward?
Yeah, so far, man. I know with me and my company specifically, we launched Christmas of 2023, so this past Christmas, and we've been dropping chapters of our mangas every month since then, free for people to read because we're trying to build this rapport of consistent stories to give
Okay.
people, you
Okay.
know. So yeah, I'd say now 4 months in, I'm pretty satisfied, man.
Okay. Let me ask you, how much of this should be we should carve out our own niche, and whoever comes to fuck with it, they fuck with it, versus waiting for them to kind of, I guess, kind of y'all can come and hang out with us. Are you 50-50, or should we be more focused on creating our own niche within that space and then just let those who come support it?
Yeah, create the niche. If we build it, they'll come.
Okay.
You just gotta, because I actually have this conversation with my people a lot at on Sorugo, because it can be discouraging, man. Because manga that's like that honestly it's a monopoly. If you think about like the only way that you can achieve that dream of being a manga artist, you got to go to Japan and do all this, send all this other stuff. But we shouldn't have to do that, honestly. Like, that's what we focus here at on Sorugo. We're trying to we've actually created our own standard of manga called Mana,
Mm-hmm.
which is MANAA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically manga made in the West. We want to make it cool for folks to want to make manga over here and not have to really go to Japan. And this is coming from someone who really wanted to go to Japan. I've studied under a few manga artists,
Okay.
and I've worked with manga artists in Japan. So it's like I've had that experience of communicating and getting their ideals and how they view our content over there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they really enjoy the concepts of our stories. And I'm gonna say black storytelling, but a lot of
Interesting. Okay.
black creators, they don't really tap into that it factor of it. A lot of people can draw very, very well, man. A lot of these like draw way better than me. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me? Way like in terms of anatomy and technical skill, but that's just it. You're just a very good illustrator. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like your story has to match up with your character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we pick up a Dragon Ball book, we got invested with Goku. You know what I'm saying? And then we wanted to, follow his travels and everything. A lot of these stories we're gonna mention your boy Eric July. You feel me? We're gonna mention that. And this is crazy because what made me I had to go and search up reviews of his book because I didn't buy it. I didn't spend $35 to do anything of the
Okay.
sort.
Now, as you as a brother that's putting out content in a very tight knit space to a certain extent, why did you feel the need to not support in that regard?
So I believe in so this is the music that I'm talking about right now. So
Okay.
like I know that when I was, I'm in Chicago, and when I was rapping, man, I'd be at Navy Pier. I got CDs in my backpack,
Okay.
and I'm doing this with a few other homies. You know what I'm saying? We just out here like, all right, let's just burn these CDs and let's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were selling theirs for like $5.99, whatever. I was like, man, I'm just giving these out for free because I know one thing: if I was on these streets and you came to me with a CD and I ain't heard you, I ain't buying
I
it.
ain't buying it.
That's with anything. It has nothing to do with it being a black business or none of that. None of that. I'm not buying a thing that I don't know about. And if
So
I
you're
see Mhm.
so you're not into the race based business.
Oh hell no. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, let me say that part. You said at one
uh-huh.
point you wanted to go to Japan, and
Mm-hmm.
I assume that changed for you.
I would still enjoy a trip
Okay, what took away the zest for you wanting to do it as badly as you initially wanted to it at first?
because I realized that the stuff that I realized that I really wanted to do over there, I can do it here.
Okay. Okay.
And I can do it here without feeling like I need to reconstruct myself to be something I'm not
Okay.
to impress another demographic of people who
Okay.
probably see me as inferior.
Is that
I
how?
don't feel like I need to learn a language, give away decades of my life to learn a language for you to accept me. I think not, Jack.
So is that how you feel they see us? Not all, but the majority to a certain extent. Maybe it's one of those.
Based off of the people I've spoken to, yeah. Based off of
Wow.
my experiences, yeah. I wouldn't say it's like racist. I wouldn't say that, but I can definitely say like think about it this way, man. And I love this analogy. This nigga said he looks like my barber. Shit, look like I need to visit him, don't it? uh, the analogy I like to give is the cookout, man.
Okay.
If we at the cookout and we see somebody pull up with somebody that ain't at the cookout, we like,
Who is
who he here with?
right?
Who they here with?
Yeah.
It's the same thing over there. But they see us, they see a lot of us over here like, man, Japan, Japan, Japan. We want to Kawaii, Kawaii, all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? They like, okay, okay, y'all, you know what I'm saying? What's the word? Damn, romanticizing our culture or something. Like y'all are obsessed with it. Cool. Well, we gonna make our money off of that too. We gonna cash in on that. So now I don't know, like if well, I'm just gonna put you on with this. Now we have more Western indie creators that want to make manga,
Okay.
and it's becoming easier for people to make manga because you have programs like Procreate, Clip Studio. Also, to the people in the comments, if y'all want to start making comics or manga, Clip Studio Paint is a good program. I'm not sponsored or anything, but it's just something that it makes it easy. You know, people. I'm not a fan of using like relying and using on 3D models,
I'm about to say
but
3D modeling. No, that's a no.
yeah, but
Okay.
people can learn to start from that. But that's how people have been doing that and have been taking manga lessons from these Japanese instructors.
Right.
And that's how they've been making their money because a lot of these instructors they need money too. The whole world is messed up.
Yeah.
So they're cashing in on the desperate Americans that really want to go to Japan. So they're gonna learn manga the Japanese way. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Quote unquote.
Briefly, can you tell me why 3D assets is such a no in comics?
So I bet you didn't know that creator of Naruto uses 3D models.
I did not know that.
And his authors, and this is the wonderful thing about manga. You can read the author's notes in the volumes. And I think it was volume 6.
Okay.
Well, no, volume 7 is when he started using 3D models, but they called them at the time motion capture. So that's when they was using motion because this was back in like this was like in the 90s, late 90s when he was doing this. So they were
Mm-hmm.
doing motion capture to capture the perspective of these ninja poses that he was doing for the manga.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you
Okay.
can see it. A lot of manga artists use 3D models and have been using 3D models for a long time. The problem comes from people who cannot draw and they literally place the model, draw over it without knowing any theory on how anatomy works, how an arm bends, how any of that works. So everything looks robotic and static.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, all of them, they use 3D models. Like the buildings, 3D models. You know what I'm saying? Like they all do that, but you have to mix the skill with it. It's like how people are doing with this AI art stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with AI art, but it's like you have people who literally just type in a prompt, but then you also have people who type in a prompt, then doctor it up with actual Photoshop abilities to the point that it's not. It's like, yeah, I've had AI assistants. I didn't just type in a prompt to make this happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Um, you said they like aspects of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So what aspects of it that they do like, and yeah, why? I guess maybe I'm answering my own question, but no, from your vantage point,
Yeah.
why are they so? Why do they care so much? What we do, what we think, what we see, what we like.
Honestly, bro, it's because black culture is just amazing, period.
I agree. I mean, listen, without us, it would be a
Yeah.
hell of a boring place. I don't give a fuck what anybody said.
Yeah.
You want the party be lit, you get us up in there, we'll turn
That's
it
it.
out. Yeah.
That's it. You feel me? No, like and see, and you already get it. I don't even need to explain too
Yeah.
much. So it's just like, bro, like we have just our culture has a deep lore in itself that we can tap in and create so many different stories off of the lore. Like they can't do that though, because that's not their culture.
Okay.
They
Okay.
can't tell the stories that we possess. They can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But what they can do is they can get us over there and help us bring those stories to fruition, but we don't want that. It wouldn't be the same. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got brothers out here calling themselves Yusuke Kurosaki, you know. And they a nigga in Japan in high school. It's an average day. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
you read it, and you're like, bro, this isn't. Unless you were Jaden Smith in that movie, you shouldn't be making shit like that.
I
How do you
agree.
think the average Japanese person feels when they read that? They're like, where was this nigga at? You feel me? That's like an Asian motherfucker drawing themselves in slavery, man. We wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
So I think about it in that aspect, and I'd be like, damn, we got a lot of people that like, and I see this with a lot of it's blacks and whites too, but it's more so black people. I see it. You know what I'm saying? They adopt the Japanese name. I'm one to talk. Seji bot. Seji is right. Seji is sage in Japanese. You know what I'm saying? That's the remnants of my my era with that, but it just stuck. But you got folks that do that and they forget about their roots. And that's the part of Black Twitter that I'm on with indie manga and everything. I know a lot of people who are like, man, Japan is the only way. And I'm like, man, no, man, that ain't how, that ain't how it is, man. You gotta tell your stories because they can't tell our stories, man. They can't.
hmm.
They can't.
So outside of money,
Mm-hmm.
there's really no reason they're not accepting. Is that a fair question? So if you're not coming out there with money to learn, basically with money to put in their pockets to learn, then there's no need for you to for them to accept you.
There's no need, man. Like
Okay.
you got certain people that get lucky. I have a few friends, well, I won't come friends. I have a few acquaintances that got um published through some Japanese publishers within the last couple weeks.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely possible, but is that what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not. I know what comes with that whole lifestyle.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Of I just say basically deconstructing yourself to do that. It's you'd become demoralized and broken like a lot of people who've been over there because it's like you just go there just to go to Japan. You don't go there with a direction. You know,
Mhm.
like I have my own story and I have a long list of other stories that I want to work on and I want to put them out. I want to self-publish them. Like I'm not over here like, man, maybe Japan will notice. Like them days are long gone, man.
So you're not you don't care if they pick up on it or not. So you're over that part of it.
Yeah. I'm over that part. Now, if they did, I definitely would be like, oh shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not. It's definitely not something I care to look over my back for anymore, man. I'm focused on the people that I can reach,
Hmm.
and since I've been focused on that for the past 4 months, man. It's been great. I've been slowly seeing more and more people get interested in my story,
Okay.
and yeah, and like my story, Engine Quest, is yeah, that's a free story that you can read now on my website. Hence how I was talking about marketing earlier. I want y'all to check out my stuff without feeling like I just want your money. You know what I'm saying? I want you all to be invested in my story, you know, to see if you would want to eventually buy a volume of it. You know what I'm saying? That's how you
Yeah.
do it. It's like, here's 4 chapters of my manga. By 3 chapters, you should know if you want to read the fourth or
The fourth
fifth.
one. Right. Right.
So I play on that, and that's how my company we model our release schedule. So all my company they on Sorugo.com, you can read all of our stories for free, the first 3 to 4 chapters. Before because we're starting a subscription model in 2 months. We're gonna have
Okay.
a digital magazine. We're
Nice.
trying to do the digital Shonen Jump thing, $3.99 a month to give people monthly stories. You know what I'm saying?
Have you noticed that they are kind of taking notice of what you're doing?
Yeah, more so on Twitter, you
Okay.
know, and that's just because I've been on there trying to keep my ear to what's going on, because I try to make sure I know what's going on. I'm not a fan of, I don't like not knowing. That's just one of my things.
Hmm.
So like that's why it's like people, you know how like people be trying to be Hollywood and not know who people are. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've never
I've
heard
never
of.
heard
Like,
of.
oh no, I've heard of you. I've seen you. I've done. Yeah, I know who I'm around, and
Yeah.
I like to feel. I like to know that I know who I'm around and who's around me,
Okay.
and this my vantage point, if you
Yeah.
will. Like I don't like being clueless and be like, oh, I don't know this important person is next to me. Like no, I'm well aware that this multi-million-dollar is next to me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm aware. You know what I'm
So,
saying?
what do you think exactly they're looking for? And when they find it, what do you think their next move would be? So, if
Wait,
they're
what we
looking
talking
at,
about again?
so what do you think they're looking for? So when they take a look over and see what you're up to, see what you guys are up to, and what are they looking for? That they is it something they can capitalize off of, steal talent?
Are we talking about over for in Japan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Like I had a theory that I believe that so they have a website called Manga Plus Creators. That's basically the new Shonen Jump. Um, that's where all the manga. That's where you would read Dragon Ball and all of that stuff now. You know what I'm saying? They have a like a sister site called Manga Plus Creators, and that's for indie creators. You know, like if me or you could submit a story on there, and then they basically at the end of the month tally up the votes and views, and first through third place get prize money, and you can get published on their website next to the greats like Dragon Ball, Naruto, all of that.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool deal. I actually submitted to that. Actually, it's crazy. Today marks a year since I submitted my first story to Manga Plus, and I actually have made it to fourth place. So I was about to be up there, but that's how I know how the shit go. You feel me? Like I had people show out for me, and then a lot of other people got put on through my story through TikTok.
Okay.
I had a lot of. I think I got like 60,000 views on that page, and people just was commenting, checking it out. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
then I realized I was just like, huh. It's not really a lot of good stories on this site, and it feels like I don't know if I was just paranoid, but I just felt like folks were just like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my lady put me onto that too, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, I wasn't trying to hear it at that time because I was like, man, I submitted, I'm in fourth place, you know what I'm saying? But I thought about it months later, and was just like, hey, they might be just taking bits and pieces from all these different stories and gonna create a big super
Yeah.
story off of all of these concepts. I don't like that.
Yeah. It's
And
like when
that's
we
what
send in
led us,
demo tracks. Same thing.
you know,
3 months later. Hey, wait.
that's my shit.
That's my melody.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
cold game. um. Wow. Okay, I got a question for you from the chat. My man C over asked. Let me see where to go. Okay, he said, what do you think about the success of Cannon Busters, and could it be revived in manga?"
Man, that's by LaShawn Thomas, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Man, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Cannon Busters was that wasn't it for me, man. I think he should just leave that one alone.
Really?
And Yasuke, he should have just packed it up and went home. That's
Okay.
just me though. You feel me? And look, I'm a fan of the mythology of well, not even mythology. He was a real nigga. Yasuke the Last, man. Like I'm and I don't know, man. I think that his talents could be used elsewhere
Mhm.
with an actual like a team. I don't think he should be the brains of that, man. I
Okay.
honestly don't. And that's no shade. Keep creating, brother. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, man, like, mm.
Um. When you were learning how to draw, what route did you take? Did you go to art school, or you had a mentor? Is that what I heard correctly? So how did you learn to
um,
get your shapes, shading, angles, all that good stuff, anatomy?
uh, self-taught and a lot of YouTube, man.
Okay,
A lot
interesting.
of YouTube. That University of YouTube, hey. It's a sketchbook. It'll do wonders. And honestly, like for real though, seriously, draw every single day. And I say that to everybody in the chat who would think like drawing,
Mm-hmm.
draw every day. I'm not talking like, oh, I'll draw Monday and then I'm gonna draw Wednesday. No, draw every single day. Then you'll get into a rhythm and you're gonna realize like, damn, I can actually do this. I'm better than I was last week. And if you start today, a year from now, you're gonna be like, damn, I'm so happy that I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a few creators in my manga company on Sorugo. When they joined up with the collective, they weren't drawing. They were strictly just writers. And
Okay.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, Sly, bro. I don't I'm a big purist when it comes to like creating stories. I feel like you should, if you don't know how to draw, if you're a writer, you should know how to draw a little bit, or
Okay.
at least try
Okay.
to learn to draw a little bit, so that you can. I don't know. It's just you. It's the full. I feel like it's the full feeling of creating that. I feel like if you're just like a writer and you're telling people to do this, and then you're like, "This is my story."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sure, it's your story. You wrote it, but when you have to put together thumbnails for a scene, a dynamic scene, or
Mm-hmm.
a double page spread,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You have to do some level of drawing, at least thumbnailing. I'm not saying that everyone has to be Van Gogh level or Akira Toriyama level to do that, but like, like set up your scenes, draw your thumbnails, writers, you know what I'm saying? So it can make it easier for your artists. And then you can at least have more credit when you say, yeah, this is my manga, because the scene that you're reading right now, I
I
literally
drew that.
plotted out, I
Yeah.
drew that scene out, and
Yeah.
my artist whom works with me brought it to life. You know what I'm saying? This is how it looked when I presented it to them, and this is what they made it into. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
One Punch Man, everyone always falls back to that. But see, people use him as an excuse to draw shitty, and I don't like that.
Okay.
Because one, he drew out majority of his series because he was like, I want to get this story out. His story was so good that Yusuke Murata was like, you know what? I want to draw this shit.
Okay.
And it turned it into what we know today as One Punch Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it took for that writer named One to be like, I don't know if he thought this or not, but be like, I ain't trying to rely on nobody else to draw this shit right now, but I need to get this story out now because I
Okay.
believe in this story.
I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the smart way to do it? Because Toriyama, halfway through the next saga, he passes away. He's the sole writer, creator. Now we have a void to fill. Who do we? How does it get finished? Who tells that story now?
Man, see, and that's crazy, man. Because I'm a big Toriyama is my all-time inspiration. Like, man, look, I got the Sandland manga. You know what I'm saying? To answer your question, man, I don't think that void will ever be filled, man. But we have the Toya Toru, his you know what I'm saying, successor, right?
Oh,
Successor.
okay.
His successor, but I don't think that it's gonna be what it once was. Obviously, now they got that Dragon Ball Daima, that new series that they're coming out, and apparently Toriyama said that he damn near put his all into this. This was his spirit bomb. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I believe that what we would want to expect from Super in terms of like the torch being passed on, I feel like that's gonna be Dragon Ball Daima. You know,
But
so
shouldn't you guys implement a master apprentice, almost like the Sith? Like, okay, if I go down, you know what to do. Because if you go down, that's it. And then we're
yeah,
like, well, what do we do now? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but when I heard that he was, I'm like, wait a minute. So who's gonna finish the story? Like, you mean to tell me there's no one else that he was working with, kind of mentoring? Like, hey,
oh no, that's Toya Toru. So
okay.
I don't know if you know, that's that's the dude who draws Dragon Ball Super.
Gotcha. So
So
now the storytelling will have to come from someone else, unless he already had notes laid out and he didn't get to it just yet, so that the person behind him can say, okay, he kind of wanted this to go in this direction, with these characters.
I feel like I honestly feel like Toriyama had notes for him.
I would hope so.
I feel like he had notes at least for, because I'm sure he knew that he was about to die because he had that brain aneurysm. So it's like I'm sure he knew, and they released like well, Toru himself said that the last page of that last chapter that was put out, Toriyama plotted it that way for Piccolo to say bye to everyone as him saying goodbye to his readers.
Oh, wow.
So he saw this, and Piccolo was his favorite character. I don't know if you
I
knew.
remember, yeah, I remember reading that in
So
passing. Yeah.
Toru had an original draft of the final page, and then he posted what Toriyama sent to him as a correction, and it was different. The difference was it was Piccolo looking back at us, the readers, waving goodbye
That's
because he knew
crazy.
he knew he was going to leave. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I feel like if he had that much of a preemptive notice, he we can at least finish the rest of this saga. I feel like with Toriyama footnotes. Anything after that, I don't. You know, it is what it is. You know,
Uh,
it probably be lost to the void, man.
yeah. Off the cuff question. So YouTube University basically got you with your skill set. I mean, you had to have some type of skill set to be able to draw.
I was I was doing Dragon Ball like
Okay.
redraws when I was little.
So the route that you took, would you recommend newbies kind of go that route and say, well, you know what the hell with art school? Like everything's on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, because most excuse people got nowadays is that they broke. So it's like YouTube is free, and you can literally learn how to draw a perfect circle if you just search it up. You got plenty of YouTube channels to learn how to utilize any and everything. I learned I learned so much about how to put together a manga that when I was under those classes that I told you, I wasn't learning anything new.
Okay.
To the point I was just like, damn, I figured it out this much, huh? Shit, it's crazy. Just wasting my money.
What is your approach to your story? How do you flesh it out? Character development, environment, theme. What do you want the reader to take away from it? How do you? What's your process for it?
Like actually putting it together.
Yeah, I mean from A to Z.
Um, I draw everything, so I just draw things, and like with my last story, we'll just talk about Engine Quest, that's easier to talk about. So the story I'm working on now, I've been using the same character for the previous 3 stories that I've been trying to work on because I've been trying to tell this story, but I haven't been telling it the right way.
Okay.
Um, but I would just basically write a short paragraph on how I want the story to be, because every story has to. My main goal is to tell a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I don't want to just create aimlessly and then draw myself into a plot crisis. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I try to make sure I know how I'm going to start the conflict and the resolution, because every story has to have a conflict, and then you got to resolve it somehow. You know what
And
I'm saying?
I'm glad you said that. So your stories, you purposely want resolution. You don't want open ended. You don't want like cliffhangers. Like you want to know when I get done reading, I'm like, okay, that's how it ended.
Yeah. So Engine Quest, you're familiar with one shot mangas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's essentially what the project I'm working on now is. It's a one shot, so it's gonna have a definitive ending to this particular story. You
Gotcha.
know, it won't be open ended when it's done. And putting those type of stories together are easy, because it's just like, all right, I just literally have to get from point A to point B to point C to point D,
Mhm.
as opposed to being like, all right, point A, and you don't know where your last point is, and it's just like, all right, I'm just making whatever to make whatever. My process is that like I said, I set that up, and when everything is already drawn up, I work pretty quick. I'm very impatient, so it's like if I have an idea, I try to draw it out and hop right into it. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, I've adopted the Toriyama method of creating pages. I'm giving y'all my hack right now, but it's kind of not because it's Toriyama's. But my chapters are 14 to 15 pages each, so that I can pace myself and I I can know what to expect each month because I aim for monthly releases.
Mhm.
So I could be like, all right, 14 pages. I know I have to draw 14 pages this month. I can do 14 pages. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah, and I pretty much just jump in, man. I don't do too much thinking on like, all right, should I do the like no, I'm gonna put out this story. As long as I'm sure about how this chapter ends, I'm good. You know? I'll ask myself those questions when I get to chapter 10.
Gotcha. Question for you. What does Seji think about Jujutsu Kaisen manga?
The JJK manga.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of JJK. And honestly, it's honestly because of the sketchy style, man. Like the style is too sketchy for me. But as a manga creator, I would be lying to say that I would never check it out. I would check it out eventually. It's just not something that I'm like, I
Mhm.
gotta check out JJK. I gotta see what the fuck happened to Gojo. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I can't escape the spoilers. I'm tapped into the whole
Yeah, yeah, you're right, right.
the indie manga scene that I can't escape it. I can't
Yeah,
escape One Piece spoilers. I can't escape none of it.
yeah. I laugh at people like I'm just gonna turn off my phone and social media and not get.
That
It's a
you ain't
business. It's
safe.
its own industry. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not gonna turn this shit off and get away from it. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Question from Chris: how hard is it for a creator to ever hand over their creations to someone else? Will there ever be a
How
reason for
hard
you
is
to?
it?
Yeah.
Like how hard is it on the heart or some shit? Because I'm gonna be real. I don't know. I would never think of doing that. I would imagine it'd be pretty. It would suck. But that's the thing about us being over here in the West. We have the privilege of doing what we want, kind
Okay.
of, when it
Okay.
comes to that. Like creative freedom. So it's like if you're handing over your IP to somebody, that's on you, honestly. Because like honestly, with like unless they're giving you an advance or something, or they're paying you for that, I wouldn't even consider handing my IP over. You know,
Okay.
if I answered that question correctly, I'm
You did.
sorry if I
Yeah.
like. Okay.
Um. What was the moment you decided to get into to do your own self publishing? Did you knock on doors and say, "Hey, please listen to my demo. Listen to my demo."
Yeah.
Did
Hey,
you go
listen
that?
to my tape, man.
Did it take for you to knock down to go beat doors to come to that point, or that's something you say I was going to be self-contained publisher and publish my own stuff and not ask or wait for handouts or anything like that?
I wish it was like how you just said. I
Okay.
wish it was like you know what I'm saying. But no, originally, man, I was so look, we finna do some back history. So you're familiar with Black Sands Entertainment?
I am.
You familiar with Saturday AM?
I am.
Okay. You familiar with Noir Caesar?
In passing, I've heard of it.
Okay. So man, when I first joined into the manga, this is when I was getting a handle on my drawing style and everything. And I would say this was 2018. 2019 is when, okay, 2018, 2019 is when I was wet behind the ears in the indie manga space.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be a part of Saturday AM because honestly, they were the first ones in the West on some black owned um, Shonen Jump monthly anthology type. Like I was like, oh man, I don't have to go to Japan for real. Like I could just do this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, went to I've subscribed to their stuff. I've spent a little bit of money. I can't say it was a lot, but I've subscribed to their thing maybe about 4 or 5 different times, just to give them a chance to be like, man, this is dope. But I ain't like how it was managed, and I didn't like how they presented their stories because the stories are kind of like the way that they present them is like real corny, man. And I'm real blunt about how my product would look if it's being promoted, and that's coming from the music. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like I'm very good at providing an aesthetic, and I know how I want my stuff to be pushed. But essentially, long story short, with Saturday AM on Twitter, they've been getting a lot of backlash because of how they treat their creators in terms of payment in terms of just how they treat their creators in general. You know what I'm saying? But I knew how that shit was because I smelled it from a mile away, and I'm glad I dodged that bullet. You know, Black Sands, and to clarify, Saturday AM didn't reach out to me or anything like that. I was interested in trying to join them at a point in time.
Gotcha.
But then I saw and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. I don't feel right doing this. I actually they had an event called Saturday Con where they held their first convention on like a Zoom thing. You know what I'm saying? Where they had you would buy a ticket or a pass, and you would join their like little live. It's like similar to how this is, but it would literally have like over 100 people in it or something. You know what I'm saying? And the CEO would be up there talking. And he was doing like open pitch sessions.
Okay.
So he would be like, "Yeah, pitch me your story, and I'll tell you what I think about it and everything." You know what I'm saying? And, people were doing that, but the way that he was conducting that, I could tell that I wouldn't like the dude. Because it's like, I'm gonna be real, man. I'm a real nigga, man. And I don't, niggas don't say shit like that if they real. But hey, look, I know when niggas are corny, and I know when niggas ain't about what they talk about, and I know when niggas are broke. So that's when I'm just like, all right, man, like you can. I was born at night, but not last night, man. You feel me? So it's like I see that, and it's like you said, man. It's like the music industry. One vulture, you see them all, and it's just like, oh, you just wearing a different suit, man. I believed in you, man.
Yeah, it's like you pay to open up for somebody. That type of shit. It's like, nah. We're beyond.
Oh yeah. See, look, and when I was rapping, man, I couldn't do the pay to play. I couldn't.
Do that,
man. Y'all gonna pay me.
Let me ask you, when or do you ever get to the point where you say, you know what, I'm good? Did you come to that point?
Good as in
good at what you're doing. Did you get to a point and say, you know what? Yeah, I can do this shit. Like, I can do this with anybody, against anybody. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm there.
Damn, that's a real question, y'all. This is a real time. I'm really, because honestly, man.
Because if this is hip hop, you're the best MC in your head.
Yeah. Man, yeah, on the real, niggas came out the womb rapping type shit. Niggas been dope at that point. No, man, I think I honestly don't think I don't want to say I don't think I'm there. I am there. I'm at a point where I'm satisfied. Where I'm like, okay, I can create the product that I need to create.
Okay.
Like, I'm at the level that I need to be to make the product that I want to make.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me show you something, man. So we have so this is my, you know what I'm saying? And once I realized we printed these out, and I'm like, man, hold on. I'm holding my stuff, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this is a test print, by the way. I'm like, man, I'm actually creating what I was reading when I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Now, the kicker is the story good? And I'm a realist. You know what I'm saying? Like, me being a creator, I'm gonna be able to create more and more stories because I believe that I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the art can be good and everything. My whole thing is like, man, I will know I'm truly good if you can basically look forward to another chapter of mine each and every month.
Okay.
And you can tell me what you like about my story, because a lot of creators, man, they're scared to ask what people think about their stories because they're afraid that no one's going to answer or they're not going to get the answers they want.
Right.
But that's the only way you're going to break yourself out. You know, Naruto, the genjutsu, man. You're going to break yourself out the genjutsu, man, if you just ask the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, little things like on Facebook, people are like, all right, man, if I get 50 likes, I'll drop the cover to the... But people be afraid. Some people be scared because they like, man, I might not even get 50 likes, man. And what am I gonna do then?
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, fuck that, bro. You just gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta do it, man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Once again, I must give credit to Eric July because if not for his wheeling and dealing, I wouldn't have met none of you brothers, none of you great talented brothers. You are in the demographic, the next wave of creators
Mhm.
and consumers. And how does Eric July and everything he's done so far, good, bad, or indifferent, how does he look to you? How does that whole situation look to you right now? Given, your station in life as of right now, how does he look to you?
Um, man. Well, as I mentioned, I don't know too much about bro. I heard about him through another creator. You know what I'm saying? And usually things that don't interest me, I don't look into, especially if it doesn't look appealing to me. So I'm gonna say like it's. I'm not really a fan of the.
Oh,
I was getting a call. My bad.
okay.
Sorry about that. Not really a fan of the style or anything like that. But I don't know, man. I just see a nigga making comics, honestly. And when I say nigga, I mean nigga. I ain't say studious young man. I ain't say, my brother in Christ. I said, man, hey, it's niggas making comics, man. We just gotta call it like we see it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, but damn,
hey, man, it's just a nigga
is it
making comics.
okay? Do you see it as him hustling? Because I felt like there's a void, there's some infighting over there.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna take advantage of it, as you should, and fill the void and
Mm-hmm.
make money off of it, which I agree you should. I just
Yeah.
think I think he doesn't think it will blow up in his face at some point. Like I'm like, that's them people business. I'm gonna keep saying it. Like to a certain extent, you gotta understand, where you're at. You're in their playground, their backyard. Like the moment they say no more, you're out of there. How do you see it?
Hmm. Hold on, you just lagged a little bit. Can you say
Oh
that
shit.
last part one more time?
Yeah.
Sorry.
How do you see it?
You
Because
cut.
my vantage point is he's over there in their backyard. You are making a profit off of their infighting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the moment they say, you know what, no more of you, and they're ready to get rid of you, then what?
We talking about the white folks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Like I literally just think niggas just don't care, bro. And until it happens,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's because I know how dangerous that shit can be. But when you really don't, and yeah, I know that when you get a lot of numbers too, that shit clouds your shit too. But yeah, no, it can. I don't see him doing this like this in another 10 years because people got to wise up at some point. You know what I'm saying? To
Yeah,
like realize what it is. Like that's why I said when I said that he's a nigga making comics, man. Like I'm about. I like to read things that have a message in it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like uh the only nigga making comics where I can read some absurd shit. You ever heard the shit called Dog Nigga?
No, no, I have not. Oh no.
Hey, no, that's some crazy. Now that, hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. When I looked at it, I was just like, man, what? And honestly, I don't think it's like a crazy dope thing, but it's just like at least that creator has some type of message he's trying to convey. It's just not, you know,
Okay.
conventional. But with Eric, man, like I said, I looked up a few reviews of his stuff because like I said, I'm not gonna buy something if I don't know what I'm reading. And it doesn't seem like it won't age well, man.
Okay.
Feels like it's just a right now type of thing, and there's no longevity in it.
Are you offended at what he's accomplished as a creator, as a businessman? Do you think it's given everybody bad optics as because listen, whatever brothers do, we're looked at as a collective. There's nothing that
Yeah.
will ever change that. Do you feel he's given the brothers a bad look?
In that particular comic space, I mean, man, look, if you over there with the white peoples like that, you gonna look crazy in general, regardless.
That's what I don't understand,
Regardless.
bruh. I ask half the brothers are like, nah, it is not, and I'm like, how do y'all not see it? Yeah, anytime
Man,
you're over there with them, like that's a
you looking crazy.
yeah. What do you mean?
You ain't even gotta say nothing. You just gotta just be like,
Yeah, and we're just like,
they're just like, oh, look at the guy over there, man. Let's see how we can exploit him this
man,
time.
okay, I ain't crazy, but
Oh, of
I
course
get it.
not, man.
Everybody, everybody has there's politics involved, and people have affiliations, and I'm not against that, and I respect everybody
Right.
for doing what they got to do, but they know when this camera shit go off, and you turn on the phone on YouTube and you looking at this nigga look crazy. Like, what are you doing?
I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on more of his videos. I think I've only seen one video. You know what's crazy? I think I saw a video you posted a while ago, and I think you was talking about how like they pulled up on this man's grandpa's tombstone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you hey, look, man, if you gonna touch the stove while it's hot, and you gonna keep going back,
If that don't make you sit there, and that don't make you want to get out that space and leave, like that's what they do.
yeah,
that's
man, like they literally tried to run you out.
You know what I'm saying? God damn.
At that point, man, he got to help himself, man, because that's why it's like,
yeah.
Hey, as even though people try, like you said, man, I'm not discrediting what you said. They do try to lump us all together, man.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing, man. We are all individuals, man, and like Sly, you Sly, man. Eric is Eric, man. You feel me? And Seji is Seji, man. But we know when there's some food shit going on, man. We gotta hold our own people accountable.
Hey, that
bro,
ain't pushing
you know?
P, bro. That ain't pushing
Yeah,
P. That
you
shit ain't
funny as hell. This man said, "Push it, P."
Well, let me ask you, how many brothers have you met in the manga space? Are the numbers growing? Is it still kind of sparsely sprinkled out amongst the universe?
Oh, the numbers are growing.
Okay.
The numbers are growing at a rate that is very motivating and very what's the word for giving hope? Promising.
Really? Okay.
Very promising. I saw that you just followed my Instagram like a few hours ago. I post a lot of my process when I'm creating things, and I literally set out to try to inspire other creators to do the same thing. They don't have to do the same exact thing. I don't need your type of style, but grab some paper and start drawing your story. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you can't draw, because we all have our own style. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what I just try to do. I just try to just show people how I do things and everything, just to motivate. Because that's what we need, man. We need people to motivate. Everybody trying to flex on everybody, man. It's just like you ain't even got to do that, man. Because it's like, especially in manga, bro. It's in manga and comics. Oh, I don't know. I'm not really in comics, but it's the same thing essentially. It's just like it's a path for every single person. You just literally have to find it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like people are too hooked onto the marketing and hooking people to it that they're forgetting that they have to actually create good stories. You know what I'm saying? Like stories that'll make you pick up the book and keep reading, because people don't read nowadays. We're trying to get people to do that more now.
Right. Wow. Okay. Let me see. I got a couple super chats. Let's see. Roscoe, thank you for the 5 on the super chat, bro. He says, okay, he's asking some of your inspirations in terms of artwork. And have you read Vagabond by Takahiko Inui? He's the gold standard, in my opinion.
I've skimmed through Vagabond. I actually have a friend who draws just like him. He has a manga called 8, and that's actually what made me go check out Vagabond, or start it. I have to finish it. Can't even lie to you. I haven't even read it like all the way through to give a complete opinion on it. But the
Yeah.
art style, that art style, man, that shit crazy. That realism is crazy in detail.
Another super chat from Deborah. Thank you for the 14. She says she's a fan of Gigi and Midnight. What are your thoughts on that?
You talking about Akatame, the creator?
Oh, I'm sorry, Gaji. Yeah, Gaji and Midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, as manga creators, they're dope. I'm fans of them because they created JJK. I'm fans of them.
Okay. Roscoe again with another 5 on a super chat. He says that they have a Japanese turned black character in One Punch Man called Super Alloy Dark Shine. The backstory to the character is hilarious. Huh. Interesting. I'm not that caught up on One Piece. I mean, on One Punch like that. Like I think the last part of I read is, I guess he's supposed to be fighting God pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I got. I'm like, I think I kind of checked out at that point when they're introducing him fighting God, because I'm like, the whole thing is satire. So he'll never lose. He'll beat everybody, which it was cool for like the first, I don't know how many books. Then it's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna make this keep going. I mean, does when do you stop? You know, how long can One Piece go on? How long can I don't know, whatever. Airbender go. I mean, do you think it? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so let's take One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it stop? Or is this going to be a continuous 10, 15, 20 year just satire on superheroes? And he beats every fucking body. And
I would think after God that would be it, but you know they're gonna surprise us with something.
But is that what the market? Okay, I'm an outsider looking in, so clearly the market still wants satirical parodies of superheroes in One Punch Man.
Yeah. Because it's the only one of its kind where it's just like, because you know they can do that just like with One Piece, like how you mentioned. Like One Piece can go on for a long time because it's literally the way that the story is set up. It's set up with one goal, and that's to find the One Piece. Everyone knows that a pirate's journey is never ending. Honestly, they never really had like a date to be like, all right, the voyage ends on this day.
Right.
Them niggas was on the waters until they either died or the ship sank, or they just kept going. They was just, traveling the seas until they were no more. So I feel like Oda is playing on that, where it's like, man, a pirate's journey is never ending. They gonna always run into something. So he can play that. And honestly, I believe, I may be wrong, but I think One Piece is the only pirate manga.
Okay.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe that One Piece is the only active pirate manga.
So
and I feel like that's why they can milk this, because it's like, I mean, shit, there's no one else doing it, and
okay.
nobody proved it to work otherwise.
I'm glad you said that. Maybe I'm looking at this. I'm overthinking this. Why would you need to keep looking for the One Piece to make excuses for all these adventures? Like, I'm like, this is a red herring? Like, okay, I know they're never gonna find it, right? They're always looking for. It's like, I get it, but like, no, yeah. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I'm sure, because so one thing that Oda did say is that he knows how it's going to end.
Okay.
And I believe that. Like, he knows how it's going to end, because that's how I wrote my story.
Okay.
I believe it. Know what your ending is. All you have to do is get there.
Okay, now, in getting there, how long do you make the story go for? I mean, how do you already have an idea how long you plan on? I don't want to say milk it, because that's the wrong term. But how long you want the story to go for before you end it?
My particular story, I want to end mine in 14 chapters.
Okay, now say you just get a shitload of success and people are going crazy for it. yo, Seji, we gotta keep this thing going. The milk train came through, and you're like, well, I wanted to end it in 14. No, we can't. Nah, son, that's not how we gonna do this. Does that change how long you run the stories for?
Yeah. So look, with this story, yeah. So with this story, in the event, because I wanted to pre-plan, and because I went into making the story, be like, all right, I'm gonna make this, and I'm gonna do another story. I have other stories that I have already started, conceptualizing everything. But I was like, with this particular story, if it does garner enough attention, I made sure to create a separate plot line with this same universe with a more expanded detail,
Okay.
just in case it gets to that point. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm telling you, like right now, like with this story right here, I already have the main series plotted out aside from this. This is my hook. You know what I'm saying? I give you a quick world building and intro to like how the powers work. Not an exposition dump where it's too much, but it's enough to be like, huh, interesting.
But
You know
you
what I'm
are
saying?
prepared if they cut a big enough check. You were prepared.
Yeah, I'm prepared. I got a whole
Right
plot,
on.
and I'm just like, all right, well, let's get it. Yep.
I feel you on that. That's what's up. That's what's up. Final super chat from INFJ Tyrone. Thank you for the 10 on the super chat. Appreciate it. What are your future endeavors? How long do you, let's say, do you branch off into possible short film, anime, live action? What's the future looking like for you?
So I believe in short-term goals and long-term goals. So
Okay.
like my short-term goal would be to get a physical run of the digital magazines that we are gonna start printing or start putting out in May. I want to get physical copies of like you're familiar with the Shonen Jump magazines and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get something like that going.
Okay.
Um, but eventually, I obviously I want to have at least one anime or at least like a movie at least. You know what I'm saying? Something. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to focus on doing one shots
Okay.
because it's more realistic for me to make an anime for Engine Quest because I would have completed the story.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As opposed to people who are 30 chapters in, they don't know when it's gonna end, and they're like, "Man, I want to have an anime," and I'm like, "Man, you didn't even get to the climax of your story yet." You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
or you don't know when it's gonna be or how it's gonna end. So you're literally just you're committing what is it, voluntary slavery at that point because you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to play catch up and you're gonna dig yourself in a hole you can't get out of. You know? Because that's honestly, I feel like that's what started that comics broke me shit.
Okay.
You feel me? People
Interesting.
biting off more than they can chew.
Okay. Um, when it comes to your resolutions, how do you know you're happy with it? Or what's a good resolution to you? What does it look and sound like? What does it feel like?
Just a sense of closure.
Okay.
Like, I know that's a weird way to answer it, but it's just mm, like I'm working on that with my ending because I know the ending, but I've been like, yo, like, do I want to like? Because I don't want to leave it open ended.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want it to be like close the book and he's like, damn, okay. Not like, huh? I wonder what you know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's definitive. Um, yeah, it just feels definitive and it just feels like final, definitive and final.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. Um, I've had you on for about an hour and a half. Please, where can everybody find you? Shout yourself out, all that good stuff, my man.
Okay. As you know what I'm saying, as you've been showing love the whole rip, you know what I'm saying, on Sorego.com, you know what I'm saying? We got the website in the chat. We appreciate everybody to check out the free stories that are on there. You know what I'm saying? You can check out all of our stories. Um, leave comments and all of that. You can follow me at Seji Bottojin on IG. Um, yeah, that's where I do everything. And Engine Quest. That's my manga/mana. I release chapters every month via the website on Sorugo.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, almost forgot.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we're actually releasing our newest chapters because we release our chapters on the 7th of each month, and
Okay.
today's the 6th. So tomorrow there will be free new stories at onsoru.com from 5 different creators, including myself.
That's what's up.
So
Please, everybody, go check out my man's site, Seji Bottle. Brother, much love to you. Much continued success to you. Yeah,
thank
you're
you.
the first official brother in manga I've ever talked to. So this is
Oh
the
damn.
first for me. So I'm humbled,
Hey
to
man,
have
I'm
this.
humbled to be on the platform,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, I just, man, yeah, continue to be the inspiration that you are. And I hope more brothers see, you and take inspiration and get motivated, because the more of us that are in this space, in the business per se, yeah, I mean, no excuse at this point. That's how I look at it.
No
Well,
excuses, man.
one final question: how much has social media helped you circumvent the gatekeeper aspect of comics, of manga business per se?
I'm gonna say this, man. I'm so happy that I went through music before I did this.
Okay, why is
Because
that?
if I didn't, because so I'm from Chicago, Chicago music, Chicago hip hop rap scene. You know what I'm saying? It was literally all that gatekeeping and just dumb shit. You feel me? And I learned through that because I essentially blackballed myself from music in Chicago because of that, because of speaking out against certain things and all of that.
Yeah.
And I've learned that in this space, when I became a guest in the space of drawing and creating manga, I could put all that stuff in my book. I ain't got to really talk to folks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't need a reaction. Um, but social media has definitely helped in a sense where like the people that actually add value to my work and everything,
Mm-hmm.
they help me. They're my blinders.
Okay.
I don't need to worry about gatekeepers because they're too busy gatekeeping. They're not working. That's usually it. They just gatekeep. They don't work. They're not working on stories. They're not gonna be. They're not gonna be gatekeeping in another 10 years. There's gonna be new gatekeepers,
Okay.
and when
Now
there's the new gatekeepers, they're not gonna have nothing to show for it. They're just gonna be like, "Yeah, I was. Yeah, you was.
so
What do you have to show for it now? You know."
is it safe to say that the era of gatekeeping is pretty much come to an end because of social media, or no? Or you think there's enough people that still that still want the privilege to be signed to have a major publisher, major distribution deal?
Oh yeah, no. There's like, especially in manga, there's definitely like the indie manga scene. Everyone wants to be published so
Okay.
badly, and they don't even know what it means,
Okay.
man. They don't know that means that you have to literally draw every day to meet the deadline so that your book can be out on time, and then you can get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of things that people don't know. You know what I'm saying? um to the point, that's why I self-published myself, because I'm like, look, I just want a platform for me to put my stories up
Mm-hmm.
where I don't have to be like, I don't have to worry about. If people who are in the chat are familiar with reading Shonen Jump manga, they know about the axe. Shonen Jump, they cut titles left and right if they don't hit a certain, level of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
If I have my own platform, I don't have to worry about that. I don't got to lose sleep over that. I ain't got to deal with that. I'm literally the CEO slash, say head honcho of what I got going on, like the On Soru Go thing. So I call the shots on majority of the stuff that happens. And as a creator myself, I know what we need. You know what I'm saying? I know
Yeah.
what we need to focus on. I'm not just, and that's why I said, like, a lot of these people who run these companies are literally strictly just writers. So they don't know the struggles of being like, man, I gotta toil away at these pages. I gotta I gotta make sure that this shit's right. They're just like, all right, well, I told you what you need to do, so can't wait to see what you do with that. I'm gonna go work my 9 to 5 job and just pay you this money because that's really what it is. Like, I
Yeah.
know a lot of manga creators, and I've met them in person, and I'd be disappointed. I'll be like, yeah, you make manga? Yeah, I make manga too. Oh, come on, man, let's link up. Link up. I'm the only one that got my sketchbook and shit. They be like, oh yeah, man, all right, and then I send it over. These Fiverr niggas, man. Be like, man, I send it
Not
to Fiverr
Fiverr.
and then I get it done. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, man. But what I'm saying? It's like I'm trying to work with other folks who are like drawing. You know what I'm saying? Man, you understand the struggles. I'm cool with people who have a team. Like if you're not the only one, like you have assistants and all that, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the greats have had assistants. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that just drawing, man. Like you folks wouldn't really understand, man. But that's why I say, like, as a creator as well, I feel like I can see my company being successful from that aspect because we're actually focused on trying to pay our creators to keep them with an incentive to work on more stories, because a lot of people are working on their manga in these companies without knowing what the hell is next. They're riding on this dopamine of being published, but it's like, will this actually contribute to paying off the things that go off in your daily life or any of that? Because a lot of us have kids, all of that, bills to pay and all of that. So it's just like, is there a return of
Yeah.
investment? You know.
That's what's up. Okay. My man Seji Botto, brother, thank you for coming through. Oh, shout out to Empress, because without her, none of this takes place. She basically strong armed me, respectfully.
Oh
You gonna talk to my man?
Shout out my lady.
So with that being said, I think the future looks bright for the industry, for you brothers, and I'm rooting for you, every last one of you guys. And yeah, I just hope everybody, the bat signal goes out and brothers see it and run towards it and congregate, network, and put out dope ass content. So that's my wish. And if these little interviews here that I do to get everybody to that same place helps, then I'm cool with that. So
Yes, sir.
my man, thank you for coming through. Thank you. I definitely want to bring you back on again, and definitely keep me updated with your adventures and all that good stuff. So you have a place here, always.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank
Anytime.
you to the chat for being so engaging. We appreciate it.
All right, bro. You have a good night.
You too, man.
Yo, this is live. Okay, listen. This vertical live thing, the algorithm is crazy. I mean, literally, you get thousands of views doing this. I hate the look. It just looks horrible, but the algorithm is the algorithm. What are we going to do? So, with that being said, I want to thank my guest, Seji Botto, for coming through. Empress, thank you for the polite, strong arm. Shout out to everybody that came through, everybody that donated time and energy. Roscoe, Deborah, INFJ, Tyrone, thank you so much. And I'm watching WrestleMania. I'll be back in about an hour or so with Red Sings the Blues. I'll catch y'all in about 90 minutes. Peace.